At Shanwasudan Senchichifen, the silent calm of Misawa Air Base in northern Japan is shattered by a piercing alert. A Chinese aircraft has just entered the outer edge of Japan's air defense identification zone. It is fast and completely unresponsive. Within seconds, the base erupts into motion. U.S. Air Force F-16s pilots on QR or quick reaction alert are already halfway into their gear. Alarms wail, crew chiefs sprint, and in less than Joshimau seconds, two fully armed F-16s are rolling down the tarmac with full afterburner. This isn't a drill. This is real. The target, unknown, but big. Moving at high altitude, flying without a transponder. That is a major red flag, especially this close to the US's ally Japan. Command doesn't wait for questions. The scramble order is out. And if you're wondering what it feels like to run toward a jet with your blood pumping, your helmet bouncing, and not knowing what is waiting over the ocean, stay tuned because what happened next caught even the most experienced crew inside the air traffic control tower off guard. What exactly does a US pilot see and decide in those first Joshimau seconds of chaos? The clock is still ticking. The lead pilot, call sign Viper Archie, locks into the cockpit while the jet systems roar to life. There is no time for checks. Everything is preset. The F-16s Pratt & Whitney engine howls. In less than Wu Findong Ute since the alert, the first jet is airborne, screaming over the Pacific. This is what is known as a scramble, an immediate launch in response to a potential threat approaching or entering restricted airspace. It is fast, it is sharp, and it is designed to send a very clear message. We see you and we're coming. The trigger for this scramble, a radar blip with no transponder code, moving at a constant speed. It appeared just inside Japan's ATIS, or Air Defense Identification Zone, where foreign aircraft are required to identify themselves. The aircraft ignored repeated radio calls from Japanese controllers. That is when the U.S. Pacific Command authorized the scramble. Quick Reaction Alert, or QR teams, are always ready. In Misawa, that means a crew of pilots sleeping within arm's reach of flight. Jets parked on alert pads with live missiles and ground crews trained to launch an aircraft in under 70 seconds. While Japan's own F-16s often respond first, the US F-16s stationed here are fully integrated into the local response network. They're not backup, they're the front line. In this case, two F-16s were assigned to intercept, while a third remained on ground standby just in case. The adrenaline hits hard, but the procedures are drilled deep. Pilots check in with PACAF, or Pacific Air Forces Command, switch to tactical frequencies, and begin their vector towards the unknown contact. Every mile brings them closer to the target and deeper into potential engagement rules. Why would a spy plane fly without a transponder near a US-aligned nation? And what happens if it refuses to turn back? Sharfendon Utes after wheels up, Viper Archie and Wingman are cruising at Senshirlin, slicing through early morning cloud cover. Their radars are hot. The intercept vectors have placed them on a perfect collision course with the unidentified aircraft. Then, contact. The F-16s radar paints the target. A large, slow-moving aircraft at Yawenba-Tenyunchir. No formation, no IFF or identification friend or foe signal, and still no radio response. The profile fits one of China's known reconnaissance platforms, likely a Yak or a KJ Wudining, both known for operating near foreign airspace to test reaction times, jam radar, or simply gather electronic signals. With visual range closing fast, Viper Archie calls. Tally 1. Large, high-gen wing aircraft. No escort. That is confirmation. At Yawenba separation, the F-16s begin their visual identification pass. This is a textbook intercept. One jet approaches the left side of the target, slightly below and forward, close enough to read the tail numbers or observe antenna setups. The wingman maintains spacing on the right side, watching for any surprises. The Chinese aircraft remains steady. No evasive turns, no radio replies. Just a long white fuselage humming along like nothing's happening. Now comes the human element. The pilot flips down his helmet visor and uses hand signals. Standard NATO intercept procedure to instruct the intruder. You're being intercepted, alter course. Follow us. No response. While technically outside Japanese sovereign airspace, its route is provocatively close to sensitive areas like the US Navy's operations near Okinawa. And here is the tactical game. These aircraft often skate right along the edge of international airspace. They're not breaking laws, but they're also not just sightseeing. Every second they're near, they're collecting data, radar signatures, communication habits, and response times. Viper Archie adjusts position again, this time nudging closer. He rebroadcasts the warning on both civil and military frequencies. Nothing. For a split second, the Chinese plane banks slightly, An intentional move, a test. Hard to tell. The wingman calls it. No response. Target holding course. Request, next instruction. Command authorizes the final maneuver. Escort protocol. The F-16s now fly alongside, flanking the aircraft to signal. You're not welcome, and we're watching you. The goal is deterrence, not escalation. Missiles are locked, but safeties remain on. Then finally, a signal. The Chinese aircraft slowly veers away, altering course southeast back towards open waters. Success without a single shot fired. Just as Viper Archie and his wingman begin to shadow the Chinese aircraft back toward open waters, the unexpected happens. The KJ Wubei S suddenly cuts altitude fast. Within seconds, it drops from Liangwen Batian Yunshi to Liangwen Sitian Yunshi. The move is abrupt, not typical for a routine course correction. Instantly, the F-16s are positioned to maintain flanking space. Their radar warning receivers light up with a faint signal. It is subtle, but real. This could be a test, or worse, electronic probing. Inside Viper Archie's cockpit, the ECM or electronic countermeasure panel shows intermittent spikes. The KJ Wubei S systems may be attempting to ping, jam, or collect data on the F-16's radar signature. It is not an attack, but it is aggressive. Back in Misawa, analysts are now watching in real time. What looked like a standard intercept is becoming something more layered. Viper Archie Hudu IOS in. Target executing erratic descent. Suspected ECM activity, holding intercept line. Then it escalates. A second blip appears. Smaller, faster, roughly whoosh nautical miles to the east. Command immediately flags it, possibly escort or decoy drone. China has previously used uncrewed systems alongside larger aircraft in maritime zones. While the second contact stays just outside of visual range, its presence forces a tactical choice. The F-16s can't split up. Rules of engagement prevent that unless hostile intent is confirmed. So instead, they stay tight, continuing to escort the primary aircraft, but relaying every movement back to base. What is the play here? Military analysts believe these dual contact encounters are rehearsals designed to stretch response chains, trigger surveillance protocols, and analyze American reaction time down to the second. For the pilots in the sky, there is no time for theory, only training and composure. Finally, at just over yardy nautical miles from Japanese airspace, the KJ Wudinin begins a slow right turn, exiting the intercept zone entirely. The second radar contact disappears minutes later, never reaching the edge. Mission complete. As Viper Archie and his wingman turn back towards Misawa, the comms are silent, but the tension hangs heavy. This wasn't just about pushing boundaries, this was a message from Beijing. One intercepted loud and clear. Back on the ground, analysts began reviewing every detail of the intercept, the radar tracks, the descent patterns, even the signal activity picked up by the F-16s. Because this wasn't just about proximity, it was about platforms. Let's talk aircraft. The F-16 Fighting Falcon or Viper, as most pilots call it, isn't just a fast jet. It is a multi-gen roll war machine. Top speed over Mach-R radar, the APG Boschesen Sabre system, which can track multiple targets and punch through electronic interference. Armed with AR-AM rams and sidewinders, can defend itself or strike with deadly precision. But that is not what it is built for in these missions. During QR intercepts, the F-16's main weapon isn't a missile. Its presence, speed, authority, and escalation control. A single Viper pulling up next to your wing says you've crossed a line. Don't push it. The Chinese aircraft, on the other hand, are a different breed. Every intercept, every scramble is a chance for both sides to test, refine, and prepare. Which means for the F-16 pilot sitting alert in Misawa or Kadena, every alarm could be a signal that the next few minutes might be routine or the start of something much bigger. So why does this keep happening? Why are us F-16 scrambling at dawn to intercept Chinese aircraft that never technically break the rules? Well, it all comes down to one thing: power projection. The Pacific region is now the front line in a global contest for dominance. China wants to control its circle of influence, especially around the South China Sea, Taiwan, and Japan. The United States, through alliances like the US-Japan Security Treaty, is committed to maintaining freedom of navigation and deterring aggression. That is why the skies around Japan, especially near Okinawa and the East China Sea, are so active. In Liaoning Arsesen alone, Japan's Ministry of Defense reported over 1,000 scrambles, a significant portion responding to Chinese military flights. Some of these are strategic bombers, others are spy planes or surveillance drones, and while most stay outside of Japanese or international borders, their mission is clear: test responses, gather signals, and see where the limits are. From the Chinese perspective, it is equally calculated. They view the U.S. military presence in the region, Misawa, Kadena, Guam, as a threat to their own national security. So they probe, observe, and react. These are not random flights, they're rehearsals. The United States responds in kind, not just with aircraft, but with naval task forces, surveillance satellites, and joint exercises with regional allies like Japan, South Korea, and Australia. These intercepts may look routine on paper, but each one is a part of a chess game with real stakes. Every time a KJ Wudinin flies near Japanese airspace, it is not just monitoring, sending a message. And when an F-16s scrambles in response, it sends one right back. We're here, we're watching, and we're ready. Do you think this is just routine signaling or the early stages of a bigger long-term confrontation? Let me know in the comments. For the two F-16 pilots returning to Misawa, this mission ends with a smooth touchdown, engine cooldown, and silent debriefing. No missiles fired, no airspace violations, just another intercept logged, and another close pass recorded. But make no mistake, this wasn't just another day at the office. Each one of these encounters tells a deeper story about pressure, posturing, and preparation. The pilots may not exchange a word with the aircraft they intercept, but the message is loud and clear on both sides. The Chinese crew knows they're being watched, and the American pilots know that they're being tested. And somewhere both countries are logging every radar ping, every maneuver, and every reaction time. These aren't accidents, they're signals. And for the rest of us watching from the ground, we're left with a question. Is this just a high-stakes game of military shadowboxing, or are we watching the opening moves of a longer, larger confrontation? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to go a step further and support this channel directly, join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and help us bring more true maritime and aerial stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and get on board. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.